So as I pop the recording on, a little box jumps up on your screen. You have to click "Got it." That will get out of your way. And then we'll go from here. So here's your basic setup for this class. This is the ideal setup. You will spotlight here. Yeah, so Sam, you'll have to mute one of your, looks like neither of your screens. So I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody here. Okay. All righty. So here's our setup. We've got 2 chairs. The back of each chair is facing in, and we want enough room so that there's some space, a little bit of a playground, because they're not drawn right in next to you. And so suddenly I'm hearing someone talk, and everyone should be muted at this point. So, okay. Anyway, and then you have chair, chair, and then a third chair that you're sitting in. So these are out in front of you, and you're sitting in your chair back here. And Sam, for some reason, a bunch of weird stuff's happening. Could you do me a favor and exit out of the meeting with both of your presences, and then come back in, and I'll let you back in, and maybe that'll reboot everything in a useful way for you, because I can still hear you and it won't let me mute what's going on. So, all right. So we're sitting. We begin finding those very important sort of underlying principles. Zhongjung, which means central upright. So great way to find it is being scooted to the front edge. Central line going straight down through the chair. Breathing. So breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. Once we have our Zhongjung intact, that central upright, then we are also working on Chunwon, which means softening and relaxing as our way to finding stability, right? So that's a unique idea from Tai Chi that makes sense when you practice it over time. But at first, we usually are doing something like holding on to our body to find a stability, right? Like you're trying to balance the body, as opposed to relax everything that can be relaxed so that everything sinks to the bottom, as that sort of great use case is that blow up toy, that big tall, usually it looked like a clown. And then at the bottom was a big sort of consolidation of sand at the bottom. And that weightedness down at the bottom allowed the toy to be knocked over, and then it would just right itself, all by itself. So that is a great way to think about what we're training. Now, if we could, we would just choose to relax everything out of the body and let it consolidate and root down. But usually we have things stuck in the body, joints, injuries, tissue tension that's just in there. And then when you have Parkinson's, you have this sort of nervous system activity that's a little bit out of control, right? And so that's what the importance of this sort of mystic practice of meditation, breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth, long, slow, smooth breathing. That's using the breath to influence the nervous system and thereby the tissue of the body in the direction of soft, relaxed. That doesn't mean we're slumping and collapsing. We're keeping zhong, and then we're opening up the spaces and allowing chunwon, or soften into stability, or sink into stability. Third and final concept that we're playing with, this is sort of like a whole idea, is Qing Ling, which means light and nimble. So when we have our upright body and we relax out the extraneous tension and agitation, then what's left is nimbleness, lightness, movability, especially as you practice more and more. This separation of earth and heaven happens, that's sort of poetic imagery. And what you find is you have your stability, your integrity, and your nimbleness, right? So final 5 breaths, 6 breaths, just play with that idea of separating the earth, the heaviness, letting it go down, not holding it in the body. Keeping zhong as you do that. And then noticing as your body relaxes, it becomes plumper, more open, and therefore more spacious. And the movement can become light, nimble, free. And we put that into practice with our joint mobilization. First movement, hands slide back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up. Then slide hands forward past the knees, hollow the chest, drop the head, round the back. And again, slide hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, look up. And slide forward. Hollow the chest, round the back. Let's do that a few times. Qing Ling, light and nimble and free. So you've got your upright sort of basic alignment. You're releasing extraneous tension, and it's easier to do in the chair or sitting because we don't fear falling as much as we do when we're standing, right? When we're sitting. And so it's a great place for us to play around with how relaxed, how at ease can you remain through range of motion, through movement. Now come back to neutral, just sitting right in the middle. Rotational movement, slide your left hand forward past the knee, right hand and elbow pull back. As you do that, turn to your right, looking over the shoulder a little bit, and then turn back through center and turn to the left. So with this one, don't prioritize turning as far as you possibly can. Instead, prioritize that Qing Ling, that light, nimble. You might think of it as hydraulic. When we relax, now we're using our liquid power system, our hydraulic power system, and we're staying soft and loose. So maybe your range of motion won't be maximum for every single round because you're paying more attention to the quality of the movement. Not quality good or bad, but qualities of like soft or rigid, forced or relaxed. And the beautiful thing is when you release and release and release, the range of motion increases as your effort decreases. As you're forcing your body decreases, you find more freedom, more of that loose, light, nimble quality. Now, last one to your left, and then we come back to neutral. Drop the arms alongside you, shift the weight more to your right buttock. Lean the body a little bit, lift your left wrist, left foot might even get light, and let your head droop over to the right. So play with how far that way you can go loose, relaxed. And then easy peasy back to middle. And then just let the weight go through your left buttock, lean the body, get light on this right side. And then chain. So this is one of my favorite ones for pointing out the middle pivot. So notice there's a place in the middle, in the belly and lower back area, that sort of section of the body that is retaining the organization. So you're totally, in one shape over here, and then totally completely into a different shape over here. But what's the constant? And that's what we're cultivating in terms of balance while moving, while walking, while going upstairs, is this organization around the middle pivot. And that's an essential piece to Tai Chi. Now come back to the middle, just sitting. Shoulders. So remember, arms plug into a socket, and that socket is part of the shoulder blade, which is on the back, the scapula. So that's where the movement of the arm begins, not in this little sort of apparent area here, but it's in the shoulder blade. So shoulder blades shrug up, squish all the muscles around the neck, shoulder, and then melt shoulder blades down. Do that again. Up and down. Up, down. Now, shoulder blades spread apart from each other. You make this little weird shape here, this sort of rounded shape. Then lift up. Then keep them lifted as you slide shoulder blades back and squeeze them back. Keep them back as you slide them down. And then they're totally relaxed back to neutral. And from neutral, forward, up. And then back and down. And release. Forward and up. Back and down. So remember that sort of metaphor, I guess you could say, that I was using about what we're trying to do. Like that toy with the sand at the bottom. So here we're trying to take one of the most common areas for people who hold tension, where we hold tension, and we're trying to unpack it and let it go down and through. Let's reverse. Shoulder blades back, then up, forward, then down. Back, up, forward, down. So every time you execute this correctly, which is squeeze, lift, slide, and make sure you release, 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 release. Let it go. Then do another round. Every time you do it correctly, it's like you're releasing some sediment, some sand, and letting it go through, letting it clear this upper area. Last one. Okay, and then just arms loose. Just let them swing, swing, swing. And let them come to stillness. And then take one forward while the other goes back. Swing, swing. This induces a little bit of a rotation through the body. Be relaxed enough to allow for that little bit of a torso turn. And back to neutral. Scoot a little bit back on your chair, just so you're very stable. Load up your right knee and pull the right heel in, no hands, and then push, fully straighten, bend, set the foot down. Other leg, load, push, reload, down. Load, push, reload. Just loosening up areas that tend to get stuck, right? And making sure that joint tissue relationships are supple, smooth, free, loose. Now, right leg straight, point foot, flex, point, flex, point, flex. Then, invert, evert, tilting foot in and out. and then circle, in, around, and out. And out, around, and in. Again, loose, free foot. And down. Other leg, straighten, point, flex, point, flex. Invert, evert, tilt. And circle. Reverse, circle. So what we're doing now is, I would say, minimum joint mobilization. There's plenty of other movements we do in the Friday class to go through each joint and really connect the brain to all the places. We're just doing that minimum sort of get everything online practice. Now, once again, scoot to that front edge, right up to the front edge, hands on your thighs, forward fold. So we hinge at the crease of the hips. And then we sit back to vertical. Lean a little bit back from the hips, tipping back, 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 back. And then sit upright. And again, fold. So many times with folks that I'm working with, the number one issues is that the leg, buttocks, hips, back, this whole region has gotten stuck straight. And that limits so much of what we're able to do with this body. So just the simple practice of making sure the pelvis, the hips, can move at the leg bone and the leg bones can move at the hips. That's a great, just sort of basic thing to focus on. All right, now we're back to vertical. And let's do our little sort of loosening up here. So it's like you sort of run in place. So tap, 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 tap. So it's one up, and then as that comes down, the other up. This is very good for various things, but let the reverberation of the impact on the floor come up through the feet, lower legs. So it's waking up the nerves down in that area. So you feel sensitivity to the ground and relax. Now this movement here, shogun, wings, turn your palms up and over the top, and settle the hands down right in front of the belly button, and just stay there for a moment. This gesture is a coming to stillness for a moment. So we've moved and traveled through some pathways, so on and so forth, and then we want to take a moment of doing nothing at all to recalibrate our central pivot. Mind to that central pivot. And then we'll go to our next phase here. So arms down. Now you bring your feet back a little bit. So the knee joint is an acute angle rather than a 90 degree. A little bit underneath you. Loose shoulders and arms. Fold at the hips, just like we did, and pour the weight out of the chair into your legs. And then push through your legs and stand all the way vertical, all the way upright. Now, from the hips, the first thing to happen, let's just do this a couple of times. So don't sit down yet, but notice how my butt went behind my heels and I allowed this loose tipping of the torso. Now stand back up and notice it's just from here. It's just from the hips. It's just bring those hips underneath. Upper body can be as loose as you want. Then you just stick the butt back and the looseness through the arms and shoulders, just let them hang right out in front of you there. And then standing up, and the arms looseness is what puts them in the correct place next to your body. So a lot of times when people do this, they hold on for dear life with their arms back here, right? Versus feel that freedom. You keep your balance when you fold. Now start to sink your butt and go down and find your chair and then lean back. So the goal here is effortless or minimum effort. Fold, pour the weight into your legs, push through the earth and rise. And then stick the butt back, fold, sink, find your chair. One more just like that, where we just effortless, relaxed, fold, push, rise up. Then stick the butt back, loose, sink, and we're vertical. Again. Now, don't sit in your chair, but do the exact same movement all the way down. Notice you can get your fingertips towards the shoes, maybe even touch the floor. This would be where you pick up something that you dropped, and then push through the earth and come back up. So again, this basic move is how we get to pick something up. Rather than, if this is all stiff, people usually go this way and feel very imbalanced and almost, feel like they can fall. Whereas when you open up this path, suddenly you're near the earth. You can get down. You can even crawl onto hands and knees from that movement, which is something we've worked on in other classes, where we haven't gone to the hands and knees, but we've crawled out a little bit. Let's do two more. So the butt goes back, loose arms, right? And also feel how when you sit the butt and keep the arms loose, you actually open up your back. The muscles along your spine spread and the back opens and stretches. Stand back up. Last one. And make sure you're really focusing on the idea that it's this, the tush, going down. Not just dropping the shoulders and head over top. And we're back to standing. All right. Now, you got your chair on your left. Step over to it and face it. Fingertips touching. Rock your body weight into the toes. And then into the heels. Into the toes. And into the heels. Now try to keep, if you notice in my body, I'm not folding, not doing anything like that. I'm just staying upright and just letting the body weight shift. Now, the next time you're in your toes, stay there, lift your heels up. So now you're on your tippy toes. Lower your heels down, rock back to your heels and pull the toes up off the floor. And put your toes down and then rock into your toes and lift. Down and rock back to your heels. Lift your toes. Down. One more. Toes, lift the heels. Heels down, rock to the heels, lift the toe. And then back to neutral. Hands on the chair. Walk the feet back. Stick the butt back. This is downward facing dog. A stretch of legs, back, shoulders. And then feet stay where they are. Lift the chest up so you come out of the stretch for a moment and then go right back in. And lift the chest up. Walk your feet forward. Vertical. Turn and face the front. And walk back a little bit. So now your chair is in front of you to your right. Now you can have the hand on the chair the whole time if you need to, but whenever we're doing level 1 of an exercise, that's usually the best time to practice no hands. So here, change your body weight to your right leg. Left foot being empty, lift the left heel and try to get up to the very tip of your left shoe. You see how light the weight is there. And then keep it empty, place the whole foot down, and then change the body weight over to your left leg. Let all the weight, chungwan, the sand and sediment go down through this leg. This leg, qingling, light, nimble. So it's emptiness That gives us the freedom. Now, fill right leg. The empty quality in this other foot allows you to get to the tippy toe, place the foot down empty, and change. So it's a very sort of fundamental change of priority when we're thinking about walking, is that it's not the moving foot that we have to be really focused on. It's the standing support leg, right? The emptiness of this makes any movement easy. But the problem is we haven't usually connected to the earth correct enough, and we're holding on to a bunch of tension everywhere else. So loosening up, now we go to level 2. So this you could do with no hands or one hand on the chair lightly, where you get to the tip of the shoe, you disconnect a little bit, reconnect to the floor, and change. And just notice how the smallest disconnecting from the earth tells you everything you need to know about, did you really commit 100% to one leg or not? Usually we're somewhere around 80-20, so that when we pull this up, we have to do some weird thing with the body, throws us off. So this simple practice of trying to get this quality of truly full empty, Chunmun, Chingling, switching, Chunmun, Chingling. All the while, Zhongjung, central upright, undisturbed. So what it starts to feel like is that your central sort of pillar is floating. It's floating. And then the outer body is free and loose. And you're free to move about the cabin, move about your life. Let's go to level 3. Make sure Chunmun is correct. Use Qingling to get that knee all the way up. All the way down with no body weight. Very important. And then change. Once that other leg is empty, then lift. Notice when I lift, I didn't lean this Zhongjung back. I'm not yanking. I'm not doing funny things. Just relax. Stay relaxed. Whole foot down. Change. All the way down to the earth. Wait until this feels empty. Then, and change. And by the way, this is true. What we're doing here is true if you're sauntering across the ground, or even if you're lightly jogging or even sprinting. This same little relationship with earth and body and middle pivot, it's the same. And so we're working on the underlying infrastructure of all movement. Now let's go to our next exercise, level 1. Change the weight to your left leg, right foot empty, put it out in front of you, just a comfortable distance, just like that. Heel touching, toe up. Now, primary direction is still down, even though I'm changing my weight now into this leg and I've moved forward in space. Get light on the tippy toe of your left foot. And then the primary direction is still down as I shift and I move back in space and change leg. Again, change, get to the tippy toe, change, tip of the heel. So this is level 1. You could have hand on chair or just practice not. But remember, it's the leg that's your full leg that's going to allow any movement freedom and allow that central pivot and central equilibrium to remain. Change. So this is level 1. Let's go to level 2. So make sure you got that down through your back leg. Lift your front foot just a smidgen off the ground out in front of you. So it's here, straight leg lift from the hip. Put the heel down. Change your weight into it. Back leg like a little flamingo. Just bend the knee. Touch the toe back where it was. Change weight back. As your weight goes down through the left, That's the freedom to lift the right. As the weight goes down through the right, that's the freedom to move the left. So we're separating left and right. We're separating empty and full, organizing it around the middle. Where in Tai Chi they call it being double weighted, where we're always in both legs. Even if we're standing on one leg, we're still in both. Whereas when we learn to relax and create empty, full, and then change that empty, full. Now we're doing Tai Chi movement. Let's go level 3, hand on chair as needed, lift, softly land the heel, keep that zhong-zheng, change, weight goes down through the right. Now, not only left heel to buttock, but bring left knee forward and up. Then reach the toe back with no body weight. Find the floor. Then change your weight back. The weight goes down through the left to allow the free lift of this empty right leg. Down. Down through the right to allow the freedom of that empty left. Step back. Change. If we can accomplish this separation, this awareness of empty and full and the pivot, then it can be as if things happen simultaneous, right? So I can eventually get to where as I'm changing the weight, I'm lifting the leg. As I'm going down through, I'm lifting here, and I can retain that quality of floating and safety and organization. But at first, you usually have to slow it down so you're really attentive of separate, then move. Pay attention to that separation, wait for it, and then and back. Bring your right foot next to your left foot. Change your weight to your right foot. Side step. Let's get closer to this chair here. Now it's within reach. Weight goes down through your right leg, left foot out in front, heel lightly touching. Level 1. So this is a good time to have no hands because we're not leaving the ground. We're just going, get to tippy toe, change the weight, get to tip of the heel. Tip of the toe, tip of the heel. So there's the good news of the primary direction is down. That's the only one you have to worry about or think about, is this, did I get down to the earth? And you'll notice, if you pay attention to that, you're still moving forward or you're still moving backwards without thinking forwards or backwards, which is what gets people in trouble, which is what throws us off our equilibrium. Is that we're going, oh, I'm walking forward now, and we start lurching forward and losing this primary relationship to the earth. Now let's go level 2. So once you're down through your right leg, left foot is empty, just try to disconnect it, loose, place the heel back down, loose and light, and then change. Once that weight is down through your left leg, then like a flamingo, just bend the knee, touch the toe down, change. Lift, lower, change. Remember, the first in the sequence is zhong-zheng, central upright. The second in that sequence is chunwan, or release what's extraneous in your nervous system, in your tissue. But when you relax and release, don't lose zhong-zheng, because that's first. And then it's qing-ling, which is this wonderful feeling of when my leg is empty, it moves kind of easily. And level 3, hand on chair as needed, because now we're going all the way up. Floating it down light. Change. Then as that back leg is empty, the knee comes forward and up, like you're going to step onto something up in front of you. reach the toe back, change the weight back. Weight is going down as the other knee comes up, down, shift, and then this knee forward and up, toe back, and shift. Primary direction down, that's what creates the up, or the freedom for the up. Just like a scale, the more the weight goes down on one side, this other side floats up even, and it's all organized right around the middle. Right around the middle. And bring your left foot next to your right foot. Change the weight to that left foot. Sidestep the right. Change over. Bring that empty foot in. Should be close enough to your chair here. Now take a little extra step back, but the chair is still within reach, but make sure you have even more of a runway in front of you here. Empty your right foot and put it in front, heel touching. Change the weight into the right foot, get to the tippy toe of the left. So now left foot is empty. Now like a pendulum, just swing it forward. And then shift into that left leg, get to the tippy toe of the right. That's the end of that forward direction. Now we go back. We shift into the right leg, wait until that left foot is actually empty, and then like a pendulum, just swing it back. Toe touches the floor, and then shift back. And we do it again. Change. As the weight goes down through, then that freedom of that empty foot can step, and then shift. And then we shift back, wait for it, step empty. So one of the main double weighted mistakes that people are making is the step and the weight shift are together like this. Boom, 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 boom. You see that that's very limited, it's very rigid, versus what we're trying to do here, which is we change the weight into one, we step the other foot, but it remains empty. It's still empty. And then I decide to take the weight into it. And then the same thing, I'm going into my right, then I'm stepping the left, but the left is still empty, free to move. Then I change the weight. So it's the same principles. Zhongjang, Chunwan Qingling, Chunwan Qingling, and then Chunwan Qingling, moving with that lightness. So it's moseying. That's another beautiful part of Tai Chi and Qigong. It's got this sort of lazy quality, but that's not because it doesn't want to make efforts and be effective. It's because this is the most efficient way to use our body, to relax through movement. Make it easy. Now, level 2, hand on chair as needed. We go lift, lower, shift. Now, an obstacle is on the ground. We got to step over something. And then shift. Flamingo, lift, lower. Now we're shifting back. This front leg's got to come up, bend, and reach back. And we shift. This front leg, lift, lower, shift. As the weight gets to the earth, this other foot is Qingling, free to step. And then as we get to the earth on the other side, this other foot is free. And then change, and this foot is free. And then change again. This foot is free. So we're practicing the constant of the middle with the absolute freedom of change, polar opposite change of full and empty, up and down, forward and backward, organized around your middle. So that's what you feel as you practice this more and more, is that you find, oh, I've got a middle I can rely on. Level 3, knee comes up, softly down. Again, chair's there for you. Change. Now it's heel to butt, knee up, foot floats out, down, and then change. And then this other knee forward and up. So your right knee's up. Now we go backward. But remember, primary direction, down. That allows the freedom for that big movement of the limb. Down, lift, lower, down, heel, knee, foot, down, lift, back, change, up, tuck, reach, change, up, down, change. So, Zhong, with all this extra movement, there's an aspect or a place within that is undisturbed, unchanging. So when it comes to balance, that's where we get our balance, not from holding all the structures so firmly together that they can't move. It's the opposite of that. It's that the moving parts are so free and open, and the middle is so settled. Switch sides. Bring the right foot, side step, closer to this chair. Empty your left foot, put it in front, level one, which is just casual moseying. Swing the foot, change. Weight goes into your left, right being empty, steps and it stays empty, and then change. Shift, step, shift. Notice that you can move forward and backwards in your space without thinking about forwards or backwards. You're just paying attention to down and through, down and through, down and through. Loose arms, loose shoulders. The more relaxed the body, you might think you would lose some of your verticality and your buoyancy, but the opposite is true. As we relax, we feel a lift. It's a very odd sensation at first. When we loosen up these sort of weighing, these aspects that are weighing us down, there's a levity in the body. A levity in the body, organized around the middle. Now let's go level two. So that's the empty leg, lift, lower, change. Now there's a little obstacle on the ground. Pick the foot up, step over, place the heel down, still no body weight in it, then shift. And then it's flamingo, lift, lower, shift back, up, tuck, reach, shift back. Light and empty, shift, step up and over something, shift, heel to butt, toe down, up, tuck, reach, shift, up, down, change, step over, change. Flamingo. Again, central equilibrium, undisturbed, floating, floating. Everything around you loose as can be. Now, level three, hand on chair as needed. Knee up, heel softly down, change the body weight, then go on that exaggerated journey there, heel to butt, knee up, foot out, floating that foot down, light, change. And then this back leg, forward and up. Reach the toe back, change back, up. Right? It's just an exaggerated movement that you might find yourself needing to do at some point, right? But its real value is liberating the limbs and teaching you how to really have that central upright regardless of the size of the movement that you're making. Two more. And as you find softer, and softer, and softer, then swiftness becomes available, where movements can be quote unquote fast, but they're not throwing you out of your position at all. They're very precise and yet very soft, very relaxed. And so that's, again, Tai Chi as an athletic endeavor, as a martial art, is that it's the swiftest possible stage you can be in. All right. Now you just stay where you guys are. I'm just adjusting so I'm more like how you are. Now, move to the left side of your space. So all the way over to the left side, your chairs act as your support. Turn and face across. So now you're facing to the what used to be the right side of your room. Level 1. So empty your left foot, put it in front. Change. Wait for the right foot to be empty. Step. Change. Step. Change. Step. Change. Step. Change. Once you reach the front sort of edge of your runway, then shift into your back foot. Now this is trickier going backwards, so be very careful. Make sure you've got one very supportive leg. The empty foot steps back, you find the floor with the empty toe, then you shift. So it's the emptiness and that freedom to step the toe back. Shift. Emptiness to step that toe. Shift. Make sure that foot stays empty as you step it. Let's go there and back again. Casual. Those of you who've been doing it a while, you can start to add a little bit of that arm swinging, where it's whatever arm's in front, that's the arm that's behind. I'm sorry, that's the, it's contralateral basically. So again, here, 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 loose. And then let's do level 2. Each step is over an obstacle. So the foot has to be empty so you can step over that obstacle. And then change. And then step over that obstacle. Change. Going forward always will be easier. We can see where we're going. This is a normal direction we go in. Going backwards, careful, right? So as the foot reaches behind, you have to sort of reestablish in your front leg, keep your balance, and then shift. And make sure you stay in that new rooted leg, even as you reach the toe back and find the floor. It's still empty. And then we change. 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 And once more, level 2. Maybe you make the movement of the foot a little bigger in the direction of maybe level 3 someday, which is just the most exaggerated step. Safety always. And what we're again highlighting is the full leg is what allows the freedom of everything else. The full leg, getting that relationship right. And what's hard about it, difficult about it, is that you have to soften, you have to relax through it to really get the feeling that we're looking for. Okay, turn, face forward again, but still be at the left side of your space. Change your weight into your left leg. Step right foot out, in, out, in. Keep doing that. Important elements here. So again, be facing forward now, facing forward at the left side of your runway. So now we've got right foot, it's going out and back in, and out and back in. So make sure you're at the left side of your space and you got a runway to your right. Now, step that right foot out and change the weight. Keep the left foot on the ground even as you empty that leg, and then change back. Keep the right foot down. So notice, by keeping the feet glued to the ground, rather than if I was stiff, when I go over this way, I'm picking the heel up. And the stiffer I am, the more I have to do stuff like this, right? Whereas what we want is release, 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 and then this internal freedom of movement in the groin, what they call the quad, but also just all the tissues and joints that are involved need to be able to, one of my teachers uses the visual of an accordion that can, right, like little segmented movability. So our legs are kind of like that. This is the accordion compressing, this is the accordion lengthening. And then it switches over onto this side as this one is lengthening. And we find that with the movement here and the freedom here. Now, weight goes into that right leg. Left foot is empty. Float it in, out. No disturbance to your central upright. And remember, whole foot on the ground, not just, let's say, the tip of the toe. Get the heel on the ground as well. Now bring the left foot in, keep it in. This one's very important. So our feet are together. The weight is through this leg, this foot's empty. And then I change. Now this foot, empty. Zhongjung is intact. So this forces us to find down. Because it's so close together that we can't really use the cheating maneuvers of leaning and tipping and all of that. We have to let go to find that freedom. Change. 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 Now, side stepping. So, right foot empty, step it out empty. Change. Left leg empty, bring it in without putting the weight in it, and then change. Right foot empty, out. Notice I didn't go with it. I stayed here and stepped. Then I change. Then I stay here, bring this foot in, but it's remaining empty. Change. Right foot empty, out. Change. Left foot empty, in. Change out. Change in. Let's go the other way. Out. So like I was saying about swiftness, swiftness can happen to where you start to stack the movements closer to each other. You see I'm moving faster now, but I'm not, right? I'm not stiffly hurrying across the room. I'm just more relaxed, more relaxed, more relaxed. And the more relaxed yet balanced. So I can move across the space pretty casually. Let's go there and back again. Just learning that the body can just be easy and loose. And movement, freedom of movement, right? So now I'm adding, it's called the cloud hands, right? Cloud hands is now we add the shift and turn. So we don't get into these as much in this class yet, and we do get into this more in the Friday class, the Tai Chi moves. But just noticing how all that's being added is a little bit of a turn and a turn, and then this freedom of the arms and hands. And so suddenly we're doing a Tai Chi move known as cloud hands. Let's go there and back again. Just whatever you feel like the cloud hands is like, because again, you could do different moves with this same idea. But just try to have the hands exploring space and notice one is up, one is down. And then they change jobs. One is up, one is down. One is up, one is down. And make sure you're keeping this feeling of below the waist. It's just empty, full, step, empty, full, step, empty, full, step. You could even just have it if it feels easier, bear washing the paws. Bear wash paws one way, bear wash paws the other. Washing paws, washing paws. And so this just loosens up some of those other mechanisms, those other pivots. It also generates and circulates the life force, the blood and chi through the various areas, various pathways, rivers, streams, tributaries. All right, and back to neutral. And then our final exploration, the rotational stepping. Step between your chairs. So they're now like parallel bars on either side of you. Empty your right leg, turn your right leg out 90 degrees. Shift down through that right leg, turn your body to face the right side and bring the left foot next to the right foot. And then change your weight into your left foot again, turn your right foot out. Change your weight into your right foot, turn your body. Now you should be 180 from where you started. Right foot again, empties, turns out. We're going in a full circle. We'll do 2 to the right and 2 to the left. Can you keep that feeling of floating? The middle pillar, your middle pivot around the navel, lower back, your central sort of mast intact. So you're just rotating around a single beam rather than swinging body parts all around. Let's go the other way. So to the degree that you've got your zhong-zheng, this changing of degrees in your space of orientation can just be so easy. We're going to the left now. Left foot out, change. Right foot around, left foot out, change. Left foot out, change. Out, change. Loose, relaxed, easy, and yet very effective at orienting you to what's going on around you, which is powerful. And then instead of right foot out, we go right foot in. Change the weight onto the right leg, bring the left foot to match the right foot. Do that again. Right foot, pigeon toe, turns in. And then we change the weight onto the right leg, bring the left foot once again to match it. Then the right foot again, pigeon toe. And match. And then right foot again, pigeon toe. And together. Around again, pigeon toe. Together. And notice you can let your body sort of turn with it. So as I turn my right foot in, I'm already orienting my body to the new direction. And as that right foot turns in, I'm turning my body. I'm seeing what's coming from there. So this is a martial art movement here, very effective at dealing with what's coming from all directions. Turn. Right? Turn. Pigeon toe. And change. After you finish that final time around, let's go the other way. Pigeon toe left, reorient. Pigeon toe left, let the body reorient. Just notice zhong-zheng, chun-wan, and the qingling is what allows you to safely turn the empty leg, the body, all organized around that leg that's connected to the earth. Pigeon toe. Change. Pigeon toe. Change. And facing forward again. Hands together. rub back of one hand, rub the palms again, back of the other hand, palms, and then quad, groin area. Hip flexors, top of the thigh, right at that little bundle of tendons, around to the tailbone, up the tailbone onto the lumbar, as high up your back as you can get. And then the butt goes back, slide the hands down the outside of the legs, you sit like a squat, hands come around the front side, and as you stand up, they come up the yin channels all the way to your navel. Again, quad or groin, inguinal crease, hip flexors, around the hips to the sacrum and tail, up from there onto your Mingmen or gait of life, your lumbar spine. And then the butt goes back a little, sit the butt, the yang channels down the outer backside, and then the yin channels up the inner front side to the navel. Final time. Quad, hip flexor, sacrum up to the lumbar, Mingmen, and sweep clear debris, just promoting the ideal flow of qi in the body. And the same kind of idea, yang channels, turn that arm palm up, yin channels, turn that palm down. Same arm, up, down, up, down, up, down. Switch, up the outer, turn, down the inner, turn, outer, turn. And eventually that flows really nicely where it's just kind of 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Shogun, wing, roll, fold, settle, settle. Remember, middle embrace. There's space between hands and navel. So we're not hugging in like this. It's out there comfortably. Knees are softly bent. Tail is down through. So when we're doing our standing meditations, and there's a lot of different positions people do for standing meditations, but the basic idea is that we're not using Li or tension-based strength. So sometimes they'll stand in a position for 20 minutes, just standing there, and what they're doing is noticing when they grab on to try to really grit and get through it, and then they learn, oh wait, don't do that. Soften, soften, soften. And eventually what you feel is the work of what's keeping you upright is on the chi or the hydraulics or the soft, supple layer rather than a bunch of grip and hold. And then with the hands here at this level, we're guiding the attention to this middle pivot, middle reservoir. And then we finish our practice sealing center palm over the navel, other hand center palm over that. 3 breaths here. Releasing everything that can be released at any layer from subtle to material. And then the Taoist bow, little mudra, thumb, fold over top. You see this little yin-yang looking symbol. So again, that represents this harmonizing yin and yang, and then finishing. All right, find a chair, get safely seated, and if there are any questions, of course, feel free. If you have somewhere you have to be, you can just wave and wander off. It's all good.